had this conversation in my family, and I said, "Guys," especially my husband, "are we all down if this happens?" And I go back, and everybody said, "Go, go, go. We're ready to do this."
Melissa Gilbert just dropped a truth bomb about her private life. Born Melissa Ellen Gilbert on May 8, 1964, in Los Angeles, California, her story started with a twist. She was adopted right after birth by actor and comedian Paul Gilbert and his wife, Barbara Crane, a former dancer and actress. From day one, Melissa was surrounded by lights, laughter, and pure Hollywood energy. It didn't take long for everyone to see she had something special. Melissa had that natural spark, the kind of presence that just pulled people in whenever a camera was around. While most kids were still learning their ABCs, she was out there booking commercials and landing TV guest spots like a total pro. There was a realness in her acting, an emotional depth that made her stand out, even back then. Then came the moment that changed everything. In 1974, at only 9 years old, Melissa landed the role of Laura Ingalls in Little House on the Prairie, the show that would make her a household name. Based on the beloved books by Laura Ingalls Wilder, it wasn't just another series. It became one of the most iconic family dramas in American TV history. Each episode showed audiences not just Laura growing up on screen, but Melissa herself. She played the perfect mix of curiosity, strength, and heart, taking on emotional storylines about loss, faith, and courage that most kids her age couldn't even imagine handling. Week after week, people tuned in to watch her shine, and honestly, it felt like they were growing up right there with her. Melissa didn't just act. She rose to the challenge with a level of maturity that blew people away. Her performances hit deep, and even decades later, they still tug at the heart. Working side by side with Michael Landon, who not only played her on-screen father, Charles Ingalls, but also served as the creative heartbeat of Little House on the Prairie, Melissa grew in ways that went far beyond acting. Landon wasn't just a co-star. He became a true mentor. He taught her the importance of discipline, emotional honesty, and how television could move people and even change lives. The connection she built with him and the rest of the cast and crew turned that set into something more. It became a real family. That bond stayed with her long after the final episode aired in 1983, leaving a permanent mark on her heart and career. To fans everywhere, Laura Ingalls wasn't just a role. She was someone they grew up with, someone who felt real. And Melissa Gilbert, she became the face of courage, warmth, and authenticity for an entire generation. But the transition from child star to adult actress, that's a tough road, and Melissa had to fight to prove she was more than the sweet prairie girl people remembered. She threw herself into new roles with serious determination. From TV shows to stage performances and made-for-TV movies, she showed she could handle it all. One of her standout moments came when she played Helen Keller in The Miracle Worker. That role proved just how fearless and emotionally powerful she truly was. It was raw, intense, and unforgettable. When Melissa hit the stage, it was like she unlocked a whole new version of herself. Theater gave her a kind of freedom she hadn't felt in years. She could finally break away from that sweet, wholesome image that fans had stuck to her for so long. Each performance showed a bolder, more fearless side of her, proving that she wasn't afraid to take risks or show her true emotions in front of a live crowd. But behind the spotlight, life wasn't as picture perfect as it seemed. Growing up in fame's harsh glow came with serious pressure, and Melissa's personal battles started catching up with her. She's been brutally honest about it, opening up about her struggles with family tension, addiction, and moments of deep self-doubt. The world saw her smile, but only she knew the heavy weight she carried when the cameras turned off. Instead of running from her past, Melissa faced it head-on. She chose honesty over hiding, using her own story as a way to heal and help others. That raw truth became one of the most powerful parts of her legacy. By speaking out about her vulnerabilities, she shattered the illusion of the perfect child star and gave strength to countless people going through their own silent battles. And Melissa didn't just stay in front of the camera. She took charge behind the scenes, too. From 2001 to 2005, she served as president of the Screen Actors Guild, one of the youngest ever to take that seat. She fought hard for performers' rights, protecting actors during a time when Hollywood was changing fast. Her leadership came from empathy, not ego. She knew exactly what it felt like to be vulnerable in an industry that can chew people up and spit them out. Both her personal and professional life played out in the public eye, revealing the story of a woman who grew up too fast, loved too deeply, and learned the hard way that fame doesn't protect you. It tests you. Melissa's teenage years weren't just busy. They were headline news. Her love life became the talk of Hollywood when she dated two future megastars, Tom Cruise and Rob Lowe. These weren't just any young flings. They became part of pop culture history, and everyone wanted to know every detail. At that point, Melissa was already a household name thanks to Little House on the Prairie, so the spotlight on her was brighter than ever. Those early romances put her right at the heart of young Hollywood. Even though they didn't last long, they left a lasting impression. They gave her an early taste of what it means to mix love and fame, a combo that can be both exciting and brutal. Through those ups and downs, Melissa learned fast about heartbreak, trust, and what it truly takes to keep love alive when everyone's watching. Those experiences helped shape her emotional maturity and what she came to expect from relationships later on. Then came a huge moment in her life, February 22nd, 1988. That's when Melissa Gilbert married actor and producer Bo Brinkman. At that stage, she was craving something real, some peace and normalcy after years of growing up under studio lights instead of a regular childhood. Bo, who understood the chaos of Hollywood, seemed like someone who could give her that stability she'd been searching for. Their marriage marked a massive shift for Melissa. She was no longer the little prairie girl everyone remembered. She was stepping into her role as a grown woman, ready to build a family and a future on her own terms. When she and Bo welcomed their son, Dakota Paul Brinkman, everything changed. Becoming a mom gave her a kind of love and grounding that fame could never match. It made her feel whole in a way nothing else ever had. Even though Melissa and Bo Brinkman shared dreams and the joy of raising their son, cracks began to show behind the scenes. The pressures of life, fame, and family took their toll, and by 1992, after 4 years of trying to hold things together, they decided to part ways. The divorce hit Melissa hard, but she refused to let the pain define her. She stayed focused on what mattered most, her son, Dakota, doing everything she could to give him a home full of love and stability. But Melissa wasn't ready to give up on love just yet. On January 1st, 1995, she took another leap of faith and married actor Bruce Boxleitner. Known for his solid career in TV and film, Bruce brought a sense of maturity and understanding that felt like exactly what Melissa needed. Their marriage felt like a brand new beginning, a chance to rewrite her story and start fresh with someone who truly got her world. Later that same year, on October 6th, 1995, Melissa welcomed another beautiful chapter into her life, her son, Michael. The name wasn't just a name. It carried deep, heartfelt meaning. She named him after Michael Landon, her Little House on the Prairie co-star, mentor, and one of the most important figures in her life. It was her way of honoring the man who had been a father figure, a teacher, and a protector when she was growing up on set. Michael Landon's influence ran deep in Melissa's heart. He had helped shape the person she became, teaching her strength, integrity, and the real meaning of family. Naming her son after him was more than a tribute. It was an act of pure gratitude and love. For a while, Melissa and Bruce seemed to have it all, a blended family built on respect, devotion, and genuine affection. As time went on, the fairy tale began to fade for Melissa and Bruce Boxleitner. The pressures of juggling two demanding careers, raising kids, and trying to grow as individuals started to wear them down. The spark that once brought them together slowly dimmed, and eventually, their marriage couldn't withstand the strain. On August 22nd, 2011, Melissa officially filed for divorce, closing yet another emotional chapter in her life. It was a heartbreaking decision, but one she faced with courage and grace. Even through the pain, Melissa handled it like a true survivor. She opened up later about the emotional toll it took, speaking with honesty about what it really means to lose love and start over. Instead of letting the heartbreak break her, she chose to rebuild, focusing on her kids, her healing, and her own sense of peace. That strength became a defining part of who she was, real, raw, and resilient. Then, just when it seemed like love had given up on her, it came back stronger than ever. On April 24th, 2013, Melissa married actor and director Timothy Busfield in a small, intimate ceremony at the stunning San Isidro Ranch in Santa Barbara, California. The setting was pure magic, quiet, romantic, and timeless, perfect for the kind of love they shared. Both had been married twice before, both had kids, and both carried the wisdom that comes from life's hardest lessons. Together, they built something different, something real. Their marriage wasn't about flashy Hollywood perfection. It was about honesty, respect, and understanding. They became partners in every sense, grounded by shared experiences and genuine affection. But in mid-January 2026, everything shifted again. Melissa found herself caught in one of the toughest public storms of her life as whispers and long-standing rumors about her private world suddenly exploded into national headlines. The peace she had fought so hard to protect was once again tested, and this time the world was watching. For years, Melissa Gilbert had stood as a symbol of strength, honesty, and heart. Fans admired her for that wholesome image she first built as Laura Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie, and she carried that same authenticity into adulthood through her advocacy work and brutally honest memoirs. But what came next shattered that calm image in ways no one could have imagined. This time, it wasn't about her career, her health, or even her outspoken views. It was about her marriage, her faith in love, and a shocking legal storm that threw her world into chaos. On January 9th, 2026, news broke across every major outlet that a warrant had been issued in New Mexico for the arrest of Timothy Busfield, Melissa's husband and longtime partner. The story spread like wildfire, leaving fans stunned and the entertainment industry reeling. According to police reports, Busfield was accused of serious criminal conduct connected to the set of the television show The Cleaning Lady. The allegations, made by a family of minors involved with the production, claimed the incident stretched from November 2022 through early 2024. The details immediately raised red flags, not just for their severity, but for the length of time and professional setting in which the accusations were said to have occurred. Authorities stated that Busfield faced multiple felony counts related to abuse and endangerment, with the warrant issued by the Albuquerque Police Department. The seriousness of the case rocked Hollywood to its core. People couldn't believe what they were hearing, especially considering Timothy's respected reputation and long career in television. For Melissa, the shock was devastating. She had spent her entire adult life standing up for integrity, fairness, and the protection of children, values she had always lived by. Now she was being forced to face a nightmare that challenged everything she believed in as the public turned its eyes to her, demanding answers and strength in the face of unimaginable pain. When the news broke, Melissa Gilbert didn't stay silent. She faced it head on. In a public statement, she shared the raw emotion she was feeling, saying, "I am shocked, heartbroken, and struggling to comprehend the weight of what has been alleged." Her words carried the pain of someone whose world had just been shaken to its core. Still, she didn't let emotion cloud her sense of fairness. She reminded everyone, these are allegations, not conclusions, and the legal system must be allowed to do its work. Even in the chaos, she held on to her belief in justice. According to reports, the investigation into Timothy Busfield had quietly begun long before the story exploded. It all started in November 2024, when a doctor at the University of New Mexico reportedly filed a mandatory report, setting off a formal inquiry that stayed under wraps for months. When it finally surfaced, it sent shockwaves through Hollywood. Busfield's legal team came out swinging, flat out denying every accusation. They called the claims completely fabricated, suggesting that resentment and tension following the removal of certain child actors from the production had led to the allegations. It became a swirl of competing narratives, each side pushing their version of the truth while the public tried to make sense of it all. Melissa handled the tension with remarkable control, though her pain was written all over her face. She said plainly, "I am not a judge, and I cannot pretend to know all the facts. What I do know is that this situation is deeply painful for everyone involved. Those words hit hard. They came from a place of heartbreak, not defense. As the controversy grew, the professional fallout came fast. NBC announced it would pull an episode of Law and Order, Special Victims Unit featuring Busfield as a judge, citing sensitivity to the ongoing case. The irony didn't go unnoticed. An actor once playing a man of justice now caught in a real-life legal nightmare. Even Melissa admitted privately that the symbolism and timing of it all felt almost unbearable. Melissa Gilbert reportedly said, "It feels like watching your life fracture in real time, piece by piece." Those haunting words captured exactly what she was going through. On January 12th, new reports surfaced claiming that police had been unable to locate Timothy Busfield 3 days after the warrant for his arrest had been issued. The tension was unbearable. As the search intensified, the U.S. Marshal Service officially joined the hunt, and the media went wild with speculation. Everyone wanted to know where Busfield was, what Gilbert knew, and how she was holding up through it all. Melissa didn't hide or stay silent. She faced the rumors directly. She said firmly, "I have cooperated fully and transparently. I have nothing to hide, and I will not obstruct justice in any way." Her voice carried a mix of exhaustion and defiance, showing that even in chaos, she refused to let gossip or assumptions define her. Then, on January 13th, the story took a dramatic turn when Busfield finally turned himself in to authorities. For Melissa, it wasn't a moment of relief. It was a harsh turning point. "Turning himself in does not bring clarity or peace," she said quietly. "It simply means that the process begins in earnest." Her words showed the heartbreak of someone trying to stay grounded, while her entire world shifted beneath her feet. Despite her pain, she still thought about the bigger picture, expressing empathy for those at the center of the allegations. If children have been harmed, they deserve protection, compassion, and truth, she stated with deep sincerity. That compassion reminded everyone why so many had admired her for decades. Her strength wasn't loud. It was rooted in honesty and grace. In confirming the rumors about her private life, Melissa didn't resort to anger or denial. Instead, she stood tall as a woman, torn between love, disbelief, and a fierce commitment to truth and accountability. "I am navigating this as a wife, a mother, and a human being," she concluded. "I ask for privacy, restraint, and empathy for all families affected by this, including my own." As the legal battle continues, Melissa's calm, measured response shows a rare kind of courage. The kind that comes from facing heartbreak in full view of the world while refusing to let it break her spirit. Her story reminds us that even those who seem strongest can be tested in unimaginable ways, yet still choose honesty over hysteria and grace over chaos. If you found this story powerful, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment with your thoughts. What do you think about how Melissa handled this storm? Let's talk about it.